Hey everybody, we're here on the Utopia. I am letting you know that I'm on. Hopefully, with the internet here, things are going to be okay. But we're going to give it a few minutes and then we'll go ahead and start. So here we are. Make sure I got everything set up for you guys. This is my first one doing it this way, so hopefully everything will be good. I'm cruising with my sister this time. I've already had a few people reach out via social media and ask a few questions. So I've gone ahead and chose those as the questions that we're going to go over to just kind of hopefully help you guys with the top questions it seems that we're being asked here. If you guys can hear me okay, just, or if you can't, I should say, if you can't hear me when you come on, let me know. And if you're going to be watching this at a later time, welcome then. I don't wait very well, guys. So if I look like I'm trying to keep busy, I am. So thanks for letting me know that the audio is okay. Guys, I'll go ahead and start. I don't want to sit and have to wait for too long because I'll be honest, I'm going to get nervous if I do that. So if you're watching this at a later date, you can go back and watch the beginning if you missed some of it. But hello, everyone, and welcome to the live stream. I'm glad that you guys are here. I know you're taking time out of your day, and I absolutely appreciate that. We're going to be into one of the largest Oasis class cruise of the seas. Whether you're planning your first cruise, you're a Royal Caribbean super fan. I know there are many, 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 many of you guys. Today, we're going to be talking about what makes Utopia so special. Answering some of the top questions, like I said, that people have reached out on social media and asked me online, maybe a few of yours too. So drop a wave in the chat if you've ever cruised before or a cruise ship. If Utopia Seas is on your bucket list. And I am in the room, and I will show you why in just a little bit that I am in the room versus being where I had hoped to be. So I'll show you that in just a few minutes. But the number one question, which has to do with why I'm in the room, has to do with the noise of the particular room that I'm in. So even though it's the number one question, I'm going to show you the answer in in just a little bit, but that number one question seems to be if you're in a central park or a boardwalk balcony room, meaning you're not looking at the ocean, you're looking at either the boardwalk where the carousel and everything is, or you're in Central Park where all the beautiful plants and the park cafe and everything are. How loud is it? Is it something that you can tolerate? Is it something that still makes the time enjoyable? I have an answer for that. So bear with me and we'll get to that in just a moment. But I seem in everything that I'm looking at, it seems to be one of those big questions if you have booked this particular room. So we'll get to that. What makes Utopia the Seas different from any other Royal Caribbean ship? That's another one of the questions. And we will kick that off with the biggest one there, which is what actually sets Utopia apart. This is Royal Caribbean's, as I said, newest Oasis class ship. But is, people are saying, well, is it more of the same? Is it just bigger? Is it, different things? What makes it so different from, any of the other Oasis class that is out there? This one I can attest to so far is all about celebration, having fun. Well, whether you're celebrating a birthday, actually right now they just had the President's Cruise here, and Michael Bailey was here with several others for you Gen X people. Rev Run was here as far as one of the DJs, the guest DJs was here, and that was a party. Now we're doing the birthday bash, and the birthday bash is celebration with Royal Caribbean. And of course, if you have a birthday, you're welcome to come on and book a cruise then. But they, from what I've seen so far downstairs, are doing a really great job of making it a birthday bash. I'll be filming that tonight for you guys. So that is what's going on now. And there's been a lot of celebratory things going on with that, but it is definitely nonstop celebration. It's a shorter 3-4 night cruise. And it is definitely a, how do I say that, insane mix of, thrills and chill, if you will. But you'll have to watch the video for me to go into detail more about that. We are talking like a reimagined pool deck, brand new trained theme bar, and even record-breaking Ultimate Abyss, which is their dry slide that goes from deck 16 to deck 8. Am I right, Tracy? It goes to deck 8. Yes, deck 8. It is, when I've seen it online, and I'll be honest, so far everything I've seen online and I thought I understood is way bigger in person. And if you guys have been watching me, if you're someone that's subscribed to this channel, I've been cruising for quite a while, and I understand big. I understand basically compared to what I've already been on. You all know the ships that I have sailed. This in no way compares. I mean, just as far as size, no way. With that being said, I thought I understood the size of the slide. I thought I understood the size of the slide. When I went up and filmed it, it was an extremely windy day. For those who don't know, I decided to sail in a time, and brought my sister along, at a time that there were 2 storms, out there in the Atlantic, 1 hurricane and 1 tropical storm. And so far, the captain has done an excellent job in trying to reroute us the safest way possible. But we heard not once, but twice that there were very, very high seas. Now, in saying that, I've been in 8 to 10 foot seas. I've been in 12-foot seas on smaller ships. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, this was different. Definitely some high waves, but we're fine. Everything's fine. And like I said, considering what he had to go through, did an excellent job. But I say that I did not lean over and try to see down. It just was too windy. My sister tried, and she's like, you can't see down. You just cannot see where the slide goes to. Name the abyss. You just go off into nothing. So hey, if that's one of the thrills that you're looking for, it is absolutely there for you. Have any of you booked the Utopia? Let me know in the chat if you guys have booked the Utopia just recently, and maybe you have some questions regarding that. what are the must-see attractions or experiences on board? Because it is known and advertised or marketed as such a um, things to do, keep you occupied, kind of ship. I'm getting asked, what's there to do? I'm like, it's a big ship. There's plenty to do. But in answering that question, I think from what I have experienced so far, and if y'all know me, the mason jar, my sister and I absolutely enjoyed. That was a treat from my sister. We are used to or have become accustomed and prefer to be able to sit down at a lunch and just kind of, take a breath before doing whatever it is we have to do. So she booked the mason jar, when we got on board. And again, it is one of those restaurants that you have, if you're like me and you watch the information that's out there, whoever's videos. I thought I understood, and I thought I'm like, wow, that looks good. It looks appeasing. It definitely looks. I don't want to use the word cute, but maybe quaint. It far exceeded mine and my sister's expectations. Um, even walking in, and for those of you who don't know, I you see me a lot where I'm very, very hot and my heart rate goes up. With that being said, I look very, very red, and I look like, hey, are you okay, kind of situation. And right away, we were 15 minutes early, I believe, for our reservation, and I had just asked to take a seat so that I could cool off. It was what seemed very genuine, welcoming my sister and I in, but it's, hey, let's get you cooled down. We've got room. Let's just go ahead and seat you. And it was such a nice to start things off with. So with the staff and with all of that, the mason jar just checked the box right up. So I would definitely say the mason jar, the food, outstanding. I have heard people say, for those of you that know that about Cracker Barrel, I have heard it said, "Oh, it's kind of like a Cracker Barrel." Wash your mouth out. It is not like a Cracker Barrel. Which honestly, like I said, I kind of, you know, took on that idea of, oh, okay, it's going to be something like, no, it is it's so leveled up on everything they serve you. The pimento cheese, the cornbread. I mean, I'm a Southern girl. I've had cornbread many, many times, and I had what I thought and still think is very, very good cornbread. There's something about it that just touches so many more notes when you have it. So, mason jar, I absolutely recommend, if that's kind of food that you like, the mason jar. The ice show, we are going to that tomorrow night. We have heard absolutely wonderful, wonderful, wonderful things about that. And because it is such a short cruise, I'm truthfully having to pick and choose what we're doing, because I spend the majority of my time filming or interviewing or, going over things. I don't have enough time in my day to be able to say, okay, let's do a little bit of this and do it on a ship this size. So the ice show is what we have chosen. I will say, when you are booking your shows, my sister kind of was in charge of looking at that before we went. She loves going to the shows. I do too, especially with her. We could not book. And, we tried and tried and tried. Then, of course, the rule is do it as soon as you get on board. We ran into a situation that our dinner time, because they give you 2 or 2.5 hours, my sister have to correct me on that, of time that from your dinner, our dinner is at 5, from your dinner to block that off if you try to schedule a show. So we were trying to schedule a 7:30 show. We don't sit there for 2.5 hours and have our dinner. And we couldn't do it. There were people, if you're on, when you come in on the 5th floor, there are 2 different areas of people. There was 4 in one area in Boleros, and then there was an actual desk right outside Boleros, kind of patty cornered from Starbucks, who were helping, and there was a line helping people with reservations. I will let the cat out of the bag and tell you, if you walk into Boleros, there is probably 4 or 5 entertainment people there that are specifically there to help people. I went in to kind of get out of the noise while my sister waited in a line and saw it and pulled my sister out of line, and she was able to sit right down, and they immediately were able to help her. We got the 7:30 reservation, and we will be at the ice show tomorrow night. So I'll be filming that some, and I'll let you guys know if it's all it's cracked up to be. But I have already heard wonderful things, and I'm very much looking forward to that. Um, and of course, where we are today and where I had hoped to show you was Perfect Day at Coco Cay. I've been to a lot of islands. I've obviously most recently was MSC's, which is growing, and it is very quaint. It is very somehow manages to kind of balance the fun with the surroundings. I think it's more about the surroundings. Now I know that they will be bringing more entertainment kind of venues in. With Royal Caribbean's Island, the Perfect Day at Coco Cay already being done, it is pretty much like the ship. You get off and it is bam, 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 go, 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 go. It is very humid because of the storms that were just here. So it did not take long to just kind of suck the life out of you when you're walking around and trying to get things done. But from the moment I got off the ship, I saw the trams, and then I saw two people zip lining, and then I saw the water park, and then I saw Hideaway Bay, and then I mean, it was just like goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. Um, I definitely think even though it may not be something that I personally would take full advantage of, I would definitely say that it is something that whether you're a family, whether you're someone that just, absolutely loves just sitting and watching the waves, which they were beautiful out there today, and, enjoying the water, the birds, that type of atmosphere. I could see where many, not just, oh, I like to party, or, oh, I like to sit by the beach, or, oh, there were many opinions, I think, that would be able to be like, yes, I like this, which is why I chose Coco Cay, or Perfect Day at Coco Cay. Gosh, I'm an old timer there with Royal Caribbean. I just call it Coco Cay, but it's Perfect Day at Coco Cay, for something that I would say that I would recommend to you, or to tell you to look forward to, or to definitely take advantage of. Um, I'll ask, what would be your most on board, your most what to do on board, or your most, hey, this is what I want to do while I'm on board. Leave a comment down below. And if you happen to be watching this later, go ahead and leave that comment, because I'm very good at replying back. And if you have any questions, I will definitely answer them. But this is more to help everyone that is part of our travel community get the answers that they're looking for. Because again, I do this to get the opinions, and not just my opinion, but the opinion of others. When I go out and I do this, I try my best to, befriend those that seem to, say, hey, sure, I'll answer a question for you, so that I can get as many opinions as possible to give you what I think a well-rounded opinion is, not mine. So take that into consideration when you're hearing what I'm telling you here. Is it worth it for families, or couples, or solo travelers? So it is kind of back and forth between, I'm a solo traveler, do they have solo rooms, or do they have, stuff for us? And then of course your families are probably right up top with who asks the most questions, and then couples. And I don't think I could honestly give you a 100% opinion in this short time that I'm on this ship. I can tell you what I have observed, though, on this ship, and that is families have splash away bay. And I have seen many don't have kids, I have nieces, nephews, whether it's my sister's side of the family, or elsewhere. And I consider that when I'm looking at stuff like this, it's like a theme park. It truthfully is a theme park, or a water park here on board. And there's two different areas for the children to, kind of hang out that, as well as the clubs. I have heard several families say, yep, going to the club, mom, dad, we're going to go do this. And it's just like, there's groups of people that are here that are discussing this. And they're like, yeah, it opens at this time, and we're going to do this. So I know that is something that is well used here. I know that Royal Caribbean is known for having a really great program. So that I would say for families, whether it is the area that I noticed for the adults, you're not sitting right on top of where the child's splash area is. That is definitely something I noticed that is very different from any of the other um, children's activity areas where the adults can kind of, if you will, have your own, okay, I'm sitting kind of two decks up, but you're all kind of in an enclosed area. You walk down into this splashaway bay, and you're still looking at the kids, you're still there with your children, but you're not having to sit, and I won't necessarily say any particular cruise line, but there is another cruise line or other cruise lines where you have to sit on the edge of the pool to be with your kid because there's no chairs. Or you have to sit in a separate area. There's an area that's not exactly right here by the children's area, but it's a little, or not, or, kind of around the corner, and you kind of have to lean out to check on your kid. This one I noticed you can be sitting in your own chair, whether you're sunning or reading a book or doing whatever you're doing, and you're still kind of, enveloped in this area where they understand that, you love your kids, but you may not necessarily want to be sitting right there getting splashed with everything that's going on. So hopefully I've answered and given you enough opinions of what I've heard on the ship to answer that question for you if you think that that's something that you would be interested in. There's definitely a lot of spots for couples to sit. The solarium being one of them. There's a lot of specialty dining, and I do mean a lot of specialty dining. So if you have maybe a special occasion that you are wanting to come on board for, and you like to, to have a little bit of fun, that both sides of that could be covered here on the ship. There's a few rooftop spots too that you would be able to, whether it's sunrise or sunset, you would be able to enjoy that too. So solo travelers, if you guys are looking for nightlight or bars, friendly vibes, people actually communicating, I would say that is definitely there for you. But in the comments, let me know if you cruise with your family, your friends, partner, or solo. You guys know my number one choice is hubby. Want to cruise with hubby. And Tracy's my sister. She's right there. So I enjoy cruising with her. We have very different opinions sometimes, and that helps me be able to look at, what's going on for you guys. So let's see here. Hello, Miss Rain. Thank you for all your comments. I really appreciate that. Oh gosh, Utopia compared to the smaller ships, no comparison. That will actually be its own separate video. I'm not going to give away what I prefer at this very moment, but I will tell you the Jewel, which Patrick and I just got off of, is sitting right next to us. And wow, the size difference. I mean, just little bitty Jewel and big old Oasis. So how does the dining experience compare to others in the Oasis class ships? Again, when the Utopia came out, it being the newest and the last of the Oasis class, there were many questions of what makes it so different, and can I just go on Harmony or Oasis or any of the other Oasis class ships? Is it is it that different, or is it worth it? But the ship really goes hard on food. I mean, there are plenty of venues that are extra. You're going to be paying extra, but there are many things that are included. The Windjammer, for those of you who don't know, the buffet on Royal Caribbean lines are called it's called the Windjammer. In my filming it, I'm normally so involved in what I'm doing that I don't notice the ins and outs of it. I actually took my camera down to look around because it was mammoth. I mean, it was so huge. I was like, okay. And of course, it would have to be when you're holding up to 6,000 people or more, depending, that's based on double occupancy. You need a big area so that everybody's kind of not on top of each other. With that being said, there was more than one time that I saw a line outside, and I think that they were trying to create some kind of organized chaos, if you will, to make sure that, you know, they do have plenty of wash stations when you get in. I have not seen Raymond, but I've seen Miss Washy Washy. And to make sure that everybody's kind of washing their hands and doing what they need to inside. They're also making sure that the tables can get cleaned off. So you are waiting, but in those few moments that I saw them waiting, you know, they were kind of going right in. So for those of you that, the larger the ship, the crazier the buffet is going to be. This one is spread out really well. If you've seen the videos on MSC about of their buffet, it's more like squared sections. And you almost have to make a full round if there's something, even though they're very, very similar. Sometimes you're like, okay, well, there's not, or I really want this. So you go around looking. This ship is more of what I would consider kind of like a clamshell. It starts and it just continues out. And that to me makes it easier for those to get around right below me here or right outside here. And beautiful, beautiful areas at Chops, of course, being the Chops and Giovanni's being the classic that everyone goes to. Giovanni's is absolutely breathtaking here, and I would not compare that to Chops or Giovanni's at any of the other Royal Caribbean ships that I've been on. So yes, they may be the same venues, but the way that they have done the venues here gives you a completely different experience. So hopefully that answers your questions. There's lots and lots of free food. There's, the Mexican up top. There is a food truck up top. There are like quick bites and quick eats. There is the Park Cafe, which is downstairs, which has been wonderful to just kind of pop in if you want some fruit, if you want a breakfast sandwich in the morning, or your coffee. So and they spread it out. They're very wise at, okay, well, we know there's going to be this many people over here, so we need to put, this over here. I can't tell you that that's what they thought, but in my head, seeing it done that way seems like they're trying to kind of make sure that not everyone is in the same area. So, but again, if you have any questions in regards to food or anything, or you want to, basically settle what you think is the best place to eat on a cruise ship, leave it below. I'm sure that others will chime in, whether now or later, to maybe let you know their favorite. So what are the best tips and tricks for first-timers on Utopia? All right. Well, if you're cruising Utopia for the first time, I would say, as I mentioned, book the shows early. Sorry, I can only think of the World America's Book It in the app. They're wonderful cruise directors. So every time I say book it in the app now, that you know that they've made an impression on you when it comes to that. But definitely book it in the app early as you possibly can. If not, like I said, book it when you come on board. They're there to help you when you come on board. They fill up fast, and I wasn't quite sure if it was hype, if it was kind of book the show, make sure you book the show. No, they fill up fast. I have been told by more than one staff member on board that if you get there at least 15 minutes early, if there's just that show that you just couldn't book, that there is a percentage that they do kind of save behind for those who may come and not have a reservation. So you can keep that in mind too, if that's something that you would, want to do. Definitely, whether it is Utopia or any of the ships, if you're going on a big ship for the first time, do the tour. Walk around, if you know there's an area that you're going to be in, know where it's at, and know where it's at from your room to that venue. And then from that venue to wherever else is going to be your most frequented point. If the Park Cafe is going to be your most frequented point, no, okay, am I going up, down, left, right? Because even this morning, and we've been on here since Monday, even this morning, I have to look for confirmation with my sister to go, okay, it's port side. And the rooms are set up very different because they have inside balconies. So it's not interior room, balcony. So you think odd, even, okay, I'm on the odd side. Haha, no comments, please, on that. And then the other side's going to be even. That is not how this works. One hallway is considered odd on one side, even on the other side, and then it's the opposite on the other hallway. So if you walk into that hallway thinking, okay, I'm just going to go downstairs or upstairs and walk into a hallway, and you start walking down that hallway, you're like, Where did I go? Where am I supposed to go? They do have signs everywhere down the hallway. I mean, I'd probably say 20 feet or so, you know, where they're giving you the ship map and they're saying, you are here. I think they knew this was going to happen. You are here. And then you can kind of know, I need to go back and around. I mean, they have interior rooms where they have an entire block of interior rooms all by themselves. So you're walking down a balcony to turn a corner to walk down a hallway of just interior rooms. The ship is just, I cannot tell you how big it is. It is definitely a very big ship. So do a ship tour, get your bearings as much as possible because this ship is massive. Definitely use the Royal Caribbean app as well, whether it's your activities, your updates, you know, the you cruisers, help the first time cruisers out there that may be looking at this video later to let them know how important that is and how much that is needed to kind of know what you're going to be doing. It's something that it's, especially with Royal Caribbean and their bigger ships, it's something that is definitely, you need to do that to be able to kind of know what you're doing and where you're doing it. See, favorite part of Utopia the Seas? Or what would you change? Okay. Well, I guess my favorite feature of the ship and what I would tweak. My favorite would be the staff, I think, so far. Um, Without going into anything at this moment in time, because to be honest, I'm not quite ready to go into any detail. There was just something that needed to be taken care of. And the staff itself prior to that had been and is very welcoming, very understanding, very, um, like I've told you guys before, get to know your staff, get to know your room attendant, get to know your servers that are, whether it's in the dining room or the buffet, wherever it is, know their name. It means so much. You're here for such a short time, but just knowing their name and when you see them in the hallway, our room attendant's name is Joy, and she is joyful. And we come down the hallway and we're like, hey, Joy. And she turns around and it's just like, hey, guys, how are you doing? Run and well, she doesn't run, but she, she kind of saunters over and opens our door for us. That is such a monotonous job. To be appreciated even a tiny bit goes a very, very long way. So I would definitely say the staff for such a ginormous ship, just for such a big ship, you don't know what to expect, or I didn't know what to expect. And everyone has been so welcoming and understanding. I'll go into a little more detail when I kind of have a better opinion about it later, about what kind of made me go, huh? But overall, so far, I think the staff would be something that I would say is good. If I had to change anything from day one, from absolute day one, my sister and I are Googling, yes, Googling, where's the quietest place on Utopia? We're in the solarium. Okay. Now, for those of you who frequent the solarium or understand what I'm talking about, that should be your quiet retreat area to sit and just decompress. The music was so loud. I was not expecting that. I truthfully, because it is a beautiful, you would just expect it to be the most relaxing place. We were there today. We enjoyed it today. It was much quieter. You still have some people that are having fun. Truthfully, they're just having fun. So it's not as quiet as what I would be used to, but definitely, definitely quiet, quiet, much more quiet places to just decompress. It can be overwhelming being around thousands of people. You go to the elevators, which they work great, by the way, on the ship. But you go to the elevators, you've got people. You go around the corner, you've got people. You go to each, you've got people. If you just want that moment to just take a breath and not have to be in your room, to have a spot that is truthfully quiet, to read a book, to just take in, your surroundings, whether it's the ocean, the birds, whatever it is. There are a couple spots, and I will go into that in the video, that are on this ship they're not secret spots, but they just don't seem to be known about. So I will share those with you. But I would definitely say that is something that on such a ship that gets so busy, they may, and hey, maybe everybody prefers to party, and you know what? Wonderful. That's, but I have noticed more than one looking for a quiet spot. So that would be the one thing that I say I would change. And if you had to change cruise ships or cruise ships in general, or Utopia specifically, if you've been on Utopia, comment down below what you would change, whether it's on Utopia or on a different ship. Make sure that I've taken care of everybody. it, it's a great job, guys. For those that commented that, thank you. It is a great job, but I will be very honest with you. It is extremely um, it wears on me because I do care about you guys very much, and I don't want to give you my opinion. I want to give you an opinion that you can form your own opinion from. And that seems like something that's like, okay, that's simple. I don't travel like you do, and there's so many people and so many different personalities. I need to be able to take a breath and do things that are out of my comfort zone, because you need to know, should I do that, shouldn't I do that, or what should I change, or what should I avoid. I need to be able to at least put myself aside and give you guys the very best opinion possible, so that you can travel and find your joy in the places that maybe you didn't know you could. So it's a wonderful job. I would not change it at all. But it is something that you film, you edit, you post, and you're already in the process of doing again. It is an ongoing process. But all right, crew, for all of you to join me, that's today's Utopia breakdown. I am going to walk outside with you and let you know why I'm here in my room versus anywhere else on the ship. It will also answer that question for you of, is it loud in any of the interior balcony rooms? You may already hear the answer, but um, hopefully you've gotten value from this. Give it a like, guys, if you did. And if you're new here, thanks, for watching, and just hit that subscribe button. It helps me more than you guys know. And honestly, it is the very best thing that you could do to show me you've appreciated any of what you've watched. So let's walk outside real quick. Bear with me just a minute here. If you could see my setup, you guys would totally be laughing. I have a chair in the corner of my room here, and a table from outside. Thank you, Emma. You helped me with that. So it might get a little bright on you guys, but the door is actually closed right now. It is locked right now. I'm going to unlock it first. Now she's unlocked. I will open her for you. I'm going to go back inside. Give me just a moment. So for any of you asking, I am on Central Park. I am on the quieter, yes, quieter section of Utopia on the balconies that are the interior balconies. So if you are concerned about noise, she starts about 9 o'clock in the morning. She finishes about 9 o'clock at night. They do have quieter music in the morning. They do have quieter music at night. We even had a violinist and a guitarist. It was beautiful. It was wonderful. It truthfully is like Central Park. It's beautiful. But if you're looking for quiet or to be able to go out on the balcony and relax, guys, that's not it. So with that being said, hopefully that answers the most popular question I have. Thanks to everyone who has joined. And if you're watching the replay again, drop your questions and comments. I will absolutely reply. And until next time, happy cruising, guys. Thanks so much.